In the northern part of the inner side of the Strait of Hormuz, there is an island with an area of about 1490 square kilometers hidden, which is called Keshem Island. However, in 2020, China and Iran announced a plan called the 25-year Strategic Cooperation Agreement, involving an amount of up to $400 billion. In this huge cooperation plan, Keshem Island has become an important development focus, attracting the attention of Western countries. According to the cooperation agreement, China and Iran will carry out large-scale economic construction on Keshem Island, covering energy, ports, metallurgy, transportation and other fields. When Iran and China announced this great plan, the American media regarded it as a huge potential threat. So, how important is the development of this island to the development of China and Iran? What kind of threat does it pose to the United States? This is a channel about real projects. If you are willing to support me, why not click to subscribe? Let us discover more interesting projects together. From the perspective of global energy trade routes, the Strait of Hormuz is a vital waterway and oil transportation channel connecting the Persian Gulf and the Indian Ocean. Every day, about 20% of the world's crude oil and natural gas need to be transported through the Strait of Hormuz. Shipping routes across the Strait of Hormuz thus have a major impact on global energy supply and prices. In fact, Iran's Keshem Island is located at the inner entrance of the Strait of Hormuz and has become a key place to control the Strait of Hormuz. Whether departing from the Persian Gulf to India, Africa, or China, ships must pass through Keshem Island and then cross the Strait of Hormuz. Therefore, whoever controls this island is equivalent to guaranteeing the transportation line in the Strait of Hormuz. Many oil and gas producing countries currently rely heavily on the Strait of Hormuz for their export trade routes to transport energy to global markets. According to energy trade statistics, as many as 12 million barrels of crude oil are transported through the Strait of Hormuz every day, and a quarter of the crude oil will be shipped to China. For China, the Strait of Hormuz is one of its important energy import channels, and China has been committed to ensuring its own oil security. As the hub of the Strait of Hormuz, Keshem Island has more important strategic value. Therefore, once China has investment and cooperation in the Strait of Hormuz region, it can gain greater influence and control. Prior to this, Iran encountered severe sanctions from Western countries, which dealt a huge blow to Iran's energy industry, especially the sharp reduction in oil exports. At the height of sanctions, Iran could only export 500,000 to 600,000 barrels of crude oil per day. In addition, another pillar industry in Iran, the automobile industry, has also been severely impacted by the United States. Due to the intervention of Western countries, many countries are afraid of being sanctioned by the US hegemony, and have interrupted their cooperation with Iranian auto companies. At that time, the two pillar industries of Iran's economy were severely impacted, and the auto industry was almost paralyzed. Coupled with the impact of the new crown epidemic in 2020, Iran's economic situation continued to decline, and its GDP fell by 3% to 5%. Therefore, for Iran, efforts to restore domestic economic development are an important task before it. When Iran's economy is facing difficulties, China must become the best partner. Because China has advanced technology and strong investment capabilities, it can lend a helping hand in time to help Iran get out of economic difficulties. During his state visit to China, Iranian President Rahim expressed a friendly and cooperative attitude to China, and repeatedly emphasized that Keshem Island has huge development potential in the international market. China and Iran can jointly build Keshem Island, making it one of the largest oil storage warehouses in the Persian Gulf region, and radiating the entire Middle East oil waterway. In the future, the island will also be connected to the Gwadar port, which was previously invested and constructed by China in Pakistan, thereby greatly shortening the transportation route of China's offshore energy and solving the Malacca Strait problem in China's offshore energy transportation. I think this is very bad news for Western countries. For China, the construction project on Keshem Island is also an important window for China to enter the Persian Gulf region. China can invest in this region to develop a market for exporting advanced technology. China will further cooperate with Iran to establish an economic free trade zone on the basis of the original docks and oil depots. It is estimated that this cooperation plan will create up to $500 billion in economic value. Clearly, this exciting partnership agreement is a win-win. According to the cooperation agreement signed by China and Iran, the cooperation period is 25 years, and China will invest $400 billion in Iran for infrastructure construction. Among them, China's investment in Keshem Island's infrastructure and energy production has attracted much attention. The agreement includes the expansion and upgrade of the existing terminal and port on Keshem Island. At the same time, China will also provide Iran with advanced oil refining equipment and related industrial technology, and establish an economic free trade zone using RMB for direct transactions. In return for China's investment, Iran will provide China with oil at a substantially discounted price, settled in RMB. This cooperation has created a closer link between the yuan and Iranian oil. However, some Western media reported that the 25-year strategic cooperation between China and Iran will pose a major threat to the United States. So, is this true? For a long time, the United States has relied on the hegemony of the dollar. In the Middle East, most countries must rely on the US dollar for oil trade and import global commodities through the US dollar. However, in this process, countries that use US dollars for transactions are easily affected by the additional issuance of US currency, resulting in the dilution of the purchasing power of the originally held US dollars. Therefore, the dollar in the hands of these countries is facing a serious risk of depreciation. They have to sell more resources or goods to get back the same purchasing power. In addition, since the natural conditions in the Middle East are not suitable for food production, most of these countries need to import a large amount of food. Over the past decade, Iran has imported an average of more than 9 million tons of grain per year, according to the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization. Food imports from the Middle East are also increasing year by year. For these Middle Eastern countries that need to import a large amount of food every year, the decline in the purchasing power of the US dollar will affect the rise in international food prices. This may lead to increased food import costs for Middle Eastern countries, increasing the economic burden and risk of social instability in these countries. China is not only the manufacturing center of the world, but also the status of RMB in the world is gradually improving. With China and Iran successfully completing the construction of Keshem Island, this free trade zone will become an important window for Iran to import grain. Iran exports oil to China to obtain renminbi, and then can use renminbi to purchase a large amount of agricultural products and raw materials in China or Southeast Asia, and even purchase a series of industrial products in China. Therefore, through the establishment of the Keshem Island Free Trade Zone, the food problem in Iran will be alleviated to a certain extent. Another threat posed by the Keshem Island project to the United States is its important strategic significance. Keshem Island, located in the Strait of Hormuz, has winding and deep fjords. From a military point of view, it is an ideal choice for the construction of a military port. In fact, as early as 2012, Iran established an underground military facility here to park small Iranian submarines. As the cooperation between China and Iran continues to deepen, China will also reach a military cooperation with Iran. In order to protect the sea energy passage, the two countries will jointly build a modern naval force to ensure the safety of trade routes in the Keshem Island area. Through this island, we can clearly see that China and Iran jointly built Keshem Island, and both sides have gained their own advantages. Not only can China get more cheap energy, but it can also use the island to enhance its influence and protect oil shipping routes in the sea.